It's fantasy football, boys and girls, and that means fantasy kickers. Why the hell not? Right? I mean, they matter, right? There's people that play in leagues with kickers, so we thought we would, be an equal opportunity establishment here and be one of the probably the only fantasy site you're going to find, the fantasy channel on YouTube that has fantasy kicker content for you. So we're going to talk about my top 12 kickers. We're going to talk about 3 things that you should be looking at whenever you're just determining who you should draft. And I'm going to give you 5 kickers that are going a little bit later in drafts and who should be looking to target. We're going to talk about all that and more right now. Welcome back in. Let's just go ahead and get right into it, shall we? Top 12 kickers. They are Evan McPherson, Justin Tucker, Tyler Bass, Daniel Carlson, Matt Gay, Harrison Bucker, Ryan Suckup, Brandon McManus, Greg Joseph, Dustin Hopkins, Matt Prater, and Jake Elliott. The first thing that I have to get out there is a public service announcement, okay? I don't care what your thoughts are. I don't care what your opinion is. I need you to listen right here. And this is the most important thing that I'm going to tell you right now. Do not draft a kicker before the last round or 2 of your fantasy draft. I don't care what advantage you think that it gives you. There's not. The positional value that you get from taking a kicker in the 11th, 12th round much earlier than ADP or whatever isn't going to help you. It's not. The opportunity cost that you're losing from a running back or a wide receiver that you could be taking in those spots just far outweighs the kicker that you're going to be drafting, okay? Because generally speaking, the kicker 3 versus the kicker 15 is usually like a point per game, okay? It's very small. So that leads me to my next point, okay? So number 1, do not draft your kicker out past your first 2 rounds. I don't care. You don't need Justin Tucker, okay? And we're going to talk about why. So there are 3 things you should be looking for when it comes to drafting a kicker. Number 1, if you are going to be taking a kicker, let's say you're going to take a shot on a guy at the very end of your draft, you have the last pick, and you're going to take a shot on a guy there, right? You may be looking to stream. I'm just going to say this. The number 1 thing you should be looking for if you're streaming your kicker is implied point totals from Vegas. They're very easy to find. It's all over. Just Google it. NFL implied totals, week 1, whatever week you're in, and go through and look at the teams that have a high implied point total that week. We're generally looking for teams that are above 27, but really just look for the team that has the highest and go with that kicker, okay? Because as we know, teams that your best offenses are going to score the most fantasy points, okay? And that's really the number 1 thing we're looking for if you're streaming a kicker. Now, if you're not streaming a kicker, what are the other things we should be looking for? Now, we should be looking for high volume pass offenses, okay? That is another very big thing when it comes to kickers. So if you look at the passing volume in terms of kickers last year, only 1 kicker ranked outside of the top 15 inside the top 12 last year, and that was Jake Elliott when their offense ranked 25th in passing yards per game with a total of 3,400. They are the only team on this list that was below 3,500. The rest of this list is all top 15 or higher kickers, right? Which isn't shocking. Teams that are able to move the ball more efficiently matters. Now, number 3 is third down efficiency. That is the other thing you should definitely be taking a look at. So I went back to 2019, all the way up to 2021, and just kind of took a look. 2019, 2 of the top 3 kickers were among the top 3 offenses in the NFL in third down efficiency. That was the Chiefs, and that was the Ravens. The other team was Will Lutz, and they were ranked 10th. in third down efficiency with 42.2% third down efficiency. No surprise, same thing in 2020. 3 of the 7 highest scoring kickers were from offenses in the top 8 in third down efficiency. Now, last season, still no different. Last season, 3 of the top 5 kickers were within offenses that were within the top 8 in third down efficiency. So these are the things that we're definitely going to be looking for, right? Offenses that can move the football through the air, that are great on third down, because if you're good on third down, obviously you're extending drives and you're giving your kicker more opportunities, not just, touchdowns to get those PATs that matter a ton, but also just, opportunities to be able to kick field goals. Remember, when you're drafting, if you're streaming, Vegas implied point totals. If you're not, we're looking for the highest projected point or highest projected passing offenses with the highest third down efficiency. Those are the 3 things you should be looking for. Okay, so now let's talk about 5 kickers that I think that are going below ADP right now that I definitely think that you should be keeping an eye on and that you should be interested in. Number 1, that's Greg Joseph. So Greg Joseph's current ADP right now is 12th overall, or 261. But last season, Greg Joseph was 6th in fantasy points per game with 9.2. He had a kicker accuracy of 86.8. The best part about him last year was how good he was with kicks of 50 plus yards. He was 7 of 9, which was 4th most. But this was also an offense last year that I think has a chance to improve. Right, this was not a great third down offense last year. Minnesota actually ranked 26th in third down efficiency last year. However, I definitely think that this offense is going to be better. Thank goodness Mike Zimmer is gone. The old archaic style of playing football, he is now out the door. Now you bring in a new coaching staff, a much more innovative offense. Kirk Cousins still there, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. This is going to be a very good offense. Bad defense. They're going to throw the ball a ton. So that's why Greg Joseph is definitely a guy that I would be taking a look at, especially for somebody that was 6th in fantasy points per game last year. Next up, let's keep it moving here. And let's talk about Jake Elliott. Very similar situation. I think an improving offense here. However, Philadelphia ranked 4th at 45.11 third down efficiency last year. However, Jake Elliott right now is going at kicker 18 right now, which is kind of just pretty much ridiculous to me. However, 10th in fantasy points per game last year. He was 8th in kicker accuracy, but he ranked 9th on field goals of 30 to 39 yards, 8th in field goals of 40 to 49, and he was 4th in field goals of 50 plus yards. So I think this offense is going to be better than it was last year. They added A.J. Brown, obviously. Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith is still there. Another year with Jalen Hurts, great offensive line. So I think you see a bump in passing volume this year, which should also help as well. And if they can maintain at least top 10 in terms of this third down efficiency, I think that's great news for Jake Elliott. So I don't really understand why Jake Elliott's going as late as he is, especially as well as he performed last year. But Jake Elliott's another guy that I would have on my radar. Next up, let's talk about Dustin Hopkins. Great offense here for Dustin Hopkins to be in. And again, another guy that is just kind of going undervalued right now. Dustin Hopkins' current ADP is kicker 11 right now. The only reason I have him actually a little bit lower than I do, because I actually love the Chargers offense this year, is because of Brandon Staley, the head coach, but this is an offense and a head coach that is going to willing to gamble and is going to take opportunities away from your kicker, right? Because this is a team that went whatever it makes sense for them. Instead of kicking that field goal, they are going to go for it, which is going to hurt the kicker a little bit, but those extra points is going to help him because this offense is going to be so explosive. So I do think there's some room for growth here for Dustin Hopkins. And, he was great last year. It was 40 to 49 yards. He had 13 of those, which was first among all kickers last year. So I do like Dustin Hopkins. And for somebody that's going 11th overall, give me Dustin Hopkins. And then let's talk about Brandon McManus. We have one more, and then we'll wrap this baby up real quick. So Brandon McManus last year, he was actually 23rd in fantasy points per game, but he was 9th in field goals of 40 to 49 yards, and also 10th at 50-plus yards last year. But this was also a terrible offense. Now you have Russell Wilson. This is going to be one of the better offenses in the league this year. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams, Albert O. There's a lot of weapons here. So this offense is going to take a big step forward this year. Getting to play in Mile High for 8 of those games as well, is going to be a big boost, especially for those 50-plus yard field goals. This guy that can hit 60-yarders, if need be. So Brandon McManus is another guy. Currently his ADP right now is kicker 10. And then last but not least, I kind of have Chris Boswell on here. He performed really well last year. He's been one of the better kickers in the league since he's been in the league, but 9.5 fantasy points per game last year, which was 4th among all kickers last year. But he pretty much ranked, in the top 10 of every one of them, except for field goals of 30 to 39. But he only had 8 of 9, which put him at 16. But other than that, 2nd in 50-plus yards, 5th in 40 to 49, and then 7th in 20 to 29. But he was 19th in extra points. Obviously, that offense wasn't all that explosive. I think there's a chance this offense could be a little bit more explosive this year with a new quarterback, Mr. Trubisky. I know that sounds crazy, but the gone is the dink and dunk offense that this was last year for Pittsburgh. And last year, Pittsburgh ranked 17th in third down efficiency. So not great, not bad. This wraps up the list. Those are the 5 kickers that I'm looking to take, because one, you should never have Justin Tucker unless you just have that first pick of the last round and nobody's taking him, which I highly doubt, because somebody's going to reach for Justin Tucker. Some people are going to reach for Harrison Butker because they think it gives them some sort of advantage. Don't be that guy. Don't do it. As a matter of fact, I actually love the idea of just not drafting your kicker at all and just waiting till right before week 1 and picking one up. That is the smart move, letting things play out, especially if you don't draft like literally that weekend right before the NFL season starts. If you were before that, I love just taking other positions, running back, wide receivers, kind of seeing how things shake out in case some injury happens or what have you. So that's the plan. Again, Vegas, third down efficiency, high passer volume offenses. That's where we're looking for to take your kicker. I appreciate everybody checking out the video. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for future content. We're the only people here doing kicker content, but hey, here we are. It's 2022. We're trying to give you guys what you want to help you win your leagues. People use kickers in fantasy football, so we're going to make content about it. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.